most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Racehour. It's a big one for us, a bit of an All-Ireland semi-final or an All-Ireland final feel to it. It's Dublin Racing Festival this weekend. I'm Stephen Cass, joined as ever by Diarmuid, Nolan, Tony Keenan, and a Grade 1 winning jockey over jumps. We'll see now that the Anraks have this one, Paddy Aspell. Paddy, tell us about your Grade 1. You were just informing us there before you came on, or Dermo was informing us that you are indeed a Grade 1 winning jockey over jumps.
Yeah, believe it or not, obviously we're all big football fans, so we know what the San Siro is. But yeah, lucky enough to ride a Grade 1 winner over jumps for a Czechoslovakian trainer at the San Siro, and also a bit further down in Italy. I'm pretty sure if my geography is right, at Murano. You'll have seen Murano maybe on the TV at times. They have the big race there in September, the Grand Premier race. I didn't manage to win that. Jim Crowley won it in the past, and James Reevely, I think, has had a few wins in it as well. But yeah, very, very lucky. And obviously we had a bit of chat about champion hurdle winning jockey in Jersey also, and managed to scrape home in a title there one season, albeit on countback.
Oh, yeah, they didn't. Jersey, yeah, Jersey champion, yeah. Well, so putting us in the halfpenny place anyway. Traditionally, we ask Dermo and Tony, how was your luck? So, winning weekend, start with you, Dermo, quickly.
Yeah, no, I had a winning week, not a weekend, but a winning week. Had a great Thursday. I had Morelli was a big winner for me, and then Saturday I did my very best to give a good chunk of it back, but I did very little damage. I'm spending way too much time with that Monaghan man up there because I'm my stakes on the bigger days have fallen and my stakes on the lower days have definitely got up. So definitely Tony's having good and bad effects in my life here, Cass.
Well, Tony, how could I not have opened with this? What was I thinking? I just have to remember that I was a busy day last Thursday. I was up and down to Dublin for work. I just remembered the WhatsApp we got in the morning with a treble he had done. You tell the listeners, Tony, about this. The man's a genius. He's forgotten.
Oh, yes. I do remember now, sir. I was thinking Saturday, not Thursday. Yeah. Oh, because he did a Jesus Christ on Easter Sunday job. He brought Gavin Cromwell back to life in Thurles, and then the Tiestes Day on Thurles. He had the three bloody winners together in the on the card. I'd say you did the Lotto 2, the Euro Millions Friday night, is the one that you don't talk to us at all.
Good week. Mystic Meg, Tony, you blew the algorithm last week with something you said, and I'd say the mention of JC there is probably going to do it now as well. So we'll see how that goes. Another test for the algorithm when you start naming these things. Religion's presumably another one that blows the whole thing up. But listen, we're going to crack into the Dublin Racing Festival. And we're going to go chronologically through the Grade 1s, and we'll have a look at the handicaps as well, and the bumpers and so on. And we're going to start, the 115 is probably the worst of the Grade 1s. It's the Nathaniel Lacey partners. So this is novice hurdle over 2 to 6. Albert Bartlett types and handicap types in here, but Dr. Steenberg's even money favourite. Paddy, go to you first. Dr. Steenberg, I suppose the form at Navan's working out well. He definitely have a favourite's chance, but not much of a race.
No, I think you've definitely seen deeper Grade 1s in the past, haven't you? And this race in particular is a race where actually a good few of the Willie Mullins so-called second strings have actually popped up and done the business here. Dr. Steinberg, without a doubt, he's a horse that's been, I suppose you could say, a little bit of a slow burner, but wow, he looks as good as ever, and probably the best of these form-wise on what we've seen this time round. I thought I'll always give a mention to Declan Queally, a horse as well, because this Tackle Tommy Woo Woo, he has improved this horse beyond all recognition, because he was in the UK for a little stint and he was running to a very, very ordinary level and competing handicaps of a very basement mark. So, I mean, look, hard to know where his ceiling is, but he'd obviously have to take a big jump again here. But I thought that the Elliott horse here, Skylight Hustle, was the one to keep an eye on. He has got a mark of 155, and interesting that he had the passing wife in behind him last time, and we seen Keith Donoghue never got the passing wife or took the passing wife off the bridle yesterday. I know the race fell apart ever so slightly, but one thing that I thought could be interesting here, this horse will be even better stretching out further in trip on Saturday. What is the update as far as the ground is looking at Leopardstown? I know it's a very, very a very, very good track to drain. But I mean, surely you boys have seen the videos and the pictures of this morning at Leopardstown.
There's definitely two different tracks, isn't it, Tony? You'd be better man for the ground. The hurdle track here is 2 ticks softer, isn't it? Always than the chase track. So you're going to be heavy on the hurdle track no matter what, and then it's whether the chase track drains to soft to heavy or soft or yielding to soft. That's it, Tony, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough to take. Look, I think looking at the pictures there this morning, people are standing on the whole track looks to be waterlogged. Chases, hurdles, bits of it. But obviously they've had the pumps out this evening. At this meeting they tend to be on the inside hurdle track, which is the deepest of them in kind of my understanding of it. I'd say, working off the assumption, the hurdle track, bumper track couldn't be any quicker than soft to heavy. And I'd be open-minded about what the chase track will be. Like, we're recording this Tuesday evening. You know, it's still 4 days away. There's a lot can happen. I was actually looking up there this evening to see the last national hunt meeting last good national hunt meeting anyway at Leopardstown. It was abandoned for waterlogging like that, having bits and pieces of fog and frost and stuff like that. But I think it was 2011. What was the Hennessy Gold Cup? Kempes won it that year. They're on it the following Saturday. So like it just doesn't seem to happen this is the whatever drainage work they've done on the track.
Dry tomorrow, 5 mils on Thursday, and kind of 4 mils Friday. So look, you'd imagine there'd be enough to keep it soft on the chase track, but that chase track is just a totally different thing. Tackling Tommy Woo Woo, he was rated 93 one time, Paddy. So it'd be a fair achievement if Declan Queally gets him to win a Grade 1 and Declan Queally second Grade 1 in a few weeks. That'd be amazing. He's 10-1. Diarmuid, you fancy anything here, or are we kind of move through it swiftly enough?
Yeah, no, I like Kazansky's quite a lot. I think Dr. Steinberg will take stopping here. He was very good, obviously. His price is clear on that. But we haven't seen him over 3 miles in this sort of desperate ground just yet. So that's just one thing. Not saying he won't particularly get it. He looked like he handled heavy ground at Navan last time very well. But 3 miles just could be, 2 miles 6 and a bit here, but it'll ride like 3 miles definitely. Could take a bit of getting here. Kazansky absolutely loved this at Christmas at Limerick. It was a race that I, at the time, thought that maybe County Final had kind of hurled it in a bit, but I actually went back and watched it today, and I think I was wrong on that. I think it was actually just County Final misses the last, but Kazansky sticks his head out and absolutely loves it. He'll love this ground, love this going. He'll love everything about this, and he might just be kind of one of these Elliott examples of a horse that if he can steal a lead jump at the last, Stephen, he could be really, really hard to pass. So at about 8-1 or so, I think Kazansky is a good each way bet to nothing, really.
Yeah, he looks to stay here. You love that Limerick race, Dermo. Every year you tip the winner of that for the Albert Bartlett, so it could be.
I haven't done it in years, but you stuck this with me about 5 years ago, and that's it.
Yeah. So it's how long we're at it. Tony, right? I'm going to half skip into the Spring Juvenile, which is the second Grade 1, but you can roll back to that Nathaniel Lacey if you like, or you can launch straight into the match between Narciso Has and Maj 2. 8-11 Narciso Has, 3-1 Maj 2, or is there anything else you like in there? And like I say, skip back to the other race if you fancy it.
No, quite happy to move on to this. Gannon City Recovery Juvenile Hurdle, as you're calling it, the Spring Juvenile Hurdle. Better give them mentions, only relative new sponsors. Yeah, I think a lot of the interesting horses have probably come out of this. Some of the other potential ones there. I don't really have any great draw now to take on Narciso Has. I tell you, I'd rather back him at 8-11 than I would Dr. Steinberg at even money. I think that's probably a better bet. I would expect Narciso Has to step forward from the meeting that they had at Fairy House there in November, early December time. And possibly a way into bet that would be maybe more of the Narciso Has form to hit the frame. Like North Shore was having his first run over hurdles of any type there, Christmas, a fairly kind of classy flat horse for Cromwell. I'm not just so into just Cromwell now. It's playing back in form now, by the way. I would just be a little bit wary of that. Like the horse that won the first corner and last horse, there was no opposition there. And the man that won the Tiestas was probably the third best horse. So I just would like to see a little bit more evidence, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. But North Shore is the second outsider of the field. I could see him getting into the shake-up at a price there. with a bit of improvement, hoping to come for the first start back.
Yeah,
over
very
hurdles.
eye-catching the last day. He's 33-1 top price at Bet365, so I know that he'd be an interesting one with the 8 places. While they're there, we mightn't even get the 8 runners in this. Dermo, I thought you might fancy one in here, kind of a Diarmuid Nolan one immediate effect. Had you looked at him, I had it in my head he might be one you go for, but
No, I
to speculate.
literally went this race as a pure watching brief. I was the favourite should win, so at those odds cast, I'm happy to watch it.
Very good. And Paddy, yourself on the as Tony says, the Gannon City Recovering Recycling Services Juvenile Hurdle. Catchy title, in fairness to them there, Paddy. We'll give them their due. Do you fancy anything here, Paddy?
Well, interesting. I did have a quick peep at North Shore. He could definitely improve off that first run over hurdles. Obviously, the team running a bit better now. Interesting to see that Narciso has. You don't see many of these JP things go from the front, do you? And they were very positive on him last time. And I mean, look, there's a bit of a difference in price between him and Monge 2. I know Monge 2 was getting the allowance and she had the fitness edge, but Monge 2, I think, is a very, very good filly. The other one that I wanted to mention as well, possibly, I think they might have tinkered with Barbizon's wind since he last ran in behind Narciso has. I wonder if Gordon's fella could get a bit closer this time. And also give the filly down the bottom a mention. Obviously, another one of these French recruits for the Willie Mullins team. She looked very ordinary on the level in France, but has looked a lot sharper doing the hurdling job. I think we're going to see a host of these French recruits for Willie Mullins making their debut over the weekend. And she might just be one who could go off a bigger price simply because her form looks a bit ordinary. But I'm interested in this Monge to holding the form with Narciso has. I think, getting that allowance again could really stand to her. I mean, the handicapper has given her a mark of 137. So absolutely no back number, but yeah, not a bad affair, this.
Yeah, which could be a kind of a sneaky each way one, even at those kind of prices. You imagine she's going to go close off a mark like that. Monge 2 and 2 big shouts for North Shore, who's 33-1 with Bet365. We move on the Irish Arkle, and it's a belter of renewal here. Romeo Coolio 6-4, Kopek to board 7-4, Cargis 4-1, Irish Panther 6-1, and a few others in there as well. And this is a hell of a race. Tony, go to you first on this. Do you fancy Romeo Coolio to turn around the form with Irish Panther, or looking elsewhere?
Do you know the thought I have going into this is I don't have a strong bet on it. I just wonder why does Gordon Elliott feel the need to run Romeo Coolio here? I just feel he could do it a little bit of a break and go fresh into the spring.
I think they're just so tented with the ground.
It's not an easy race.
He's getting his ground. And
yes, the ground. Yeah. I do like the way he's kind of been he's been kind of lukewarm, but which race he's going to, because Mullins does this kind of all the time. Like he want to start laying his aces a bit tight to his chest. Gordon Elliott, him and Hon, which race going to go? No, he's kind of confirmed this now. But he was 2 or 3 weeks kind of making up his mind. But I just don't know if this horse needs another run. I think one factor this season, just watching the race there at the weekend, not a good novice chase there. I think there were kind of 8 runners and 6 of them had kind of run in the previous 3 weeks. I just wouldn't be in love with doing that with the way the weather has been. Really testing ground for kind of getting on 2.5, 3 months at this stage. And just be careful of kind of over racing horses. That's the thought I had with Romeo Coolio. Like, maybe he'd get away with it here. But is it going to kind of take its toll on his 5th run, which would presumably be Cheltenham, and his 6th run would be able to be in through Fairy House. Of the ones that are there, I'd actually give Chargie's a small bit of a chance. She's probably the better preparation into the Kopek, the boards, things haven't just gone ideal. She's the one that's probably drifted out as the big two are taking up a chunk of the market. I'm not sure Irish Panther, the ground would really be in favour of him because he's kind of a sharp, fast horse.
Yeah, I think he'd be okay at the ground, but 2-1 at Leopardstown on the ground. 2 miles around 8 or something, he might be okay. But it's the trick might catch him out. Paddy, it's a belter of a renewal, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think it is quite interesting that he's taken a real different approach, isn't he, Gordon, with this horse now, Romeo Coolio, because this is actually the first time he's turned up at the DRF. Similar sort of route with Tehupu, keeping them fresh and after Christmas just going straight to the festival. But he's a very, very classy horse. He's been to Cheltenham, has been second in the bumper. Obviously, he was third in the Supreme last year. And I just think that run last time will have just sharpened things up in the jumping department with Romeo Coolio. Because I'll tell you what, over the last few, he done some running to reel back in Irish Panther. Irish Panther has been one of these, he's been a click horse for a few people, but since he joined the Eddie Harty team, and obviously he's gone jumping a fence now, we're really starting to see the best of Irish Panther. He's been promising a fair bit for a fair while, but I think Tony is right. I don't think proper winter ground is going to be right up his street, but he's all class, Romeo Coolio. Obviously, Kopek the board. He's had an interrupted prep, isn't he? But he's 2-2 here at Leopardstown. And yeah, we've got to give the mare Cargisi an awful lot of respect. She does run this track well, and be no surprise to see her put it right up to the boys. But I do think that spin over 2 mile last time would have really sharpened up Romeo Coolio's jump. And at times he just looks a little bit laboured and slower than what he is. But yeah, this is a corker cast.
Yeah, built for a race. Kopek to board, I don't know. Just any horse that tears the head off themselves that much, just it's going to go wrong one of the days. Or I hate to see it, and he's not calming down in any respect. Like Townend was fighting him all the last day to get his head. And in fairness, he did jump pretty good. But God Almighty, I wouldn't want to be backing any horse at that sharp price anyway. Dermo, you had a theory that Romeo Coolio a bit flat at Christmas because he'd put up such a big performance in the Drinmore, which was fair and a good argument to talk. But I think Tony makes an interesting point, doesn't he? He's been on the go a fair bit this season already.
Yeah, I think this is quite simply, Gordon can say he's no chance in the Trainers' Championship. That little part of him now is burning away, and I'd say he doesn't want to be leaving any cent behind that he can possibly try and take, because I don't see any other reason as to why Romeo Coolio runs here. I'd say a small bit of Gordon as well smells a bit of blood in the water here with Kopek de Boer, that he can't be 100% ready unless they're unbelievably clever. And I think most days of the week I'd fancy Romeo Coolio to beat Cargesi. She's a good horse, but I still would. He wins it, I think. I think Irish Panther had his chance. I think Jack Kennedy was a bit relaxed as well on it, but he was flat. He'll win this, I think, but the Arkle then over Cheltenham could be a completely different story, but kind of once again, Cass, I fancy him, but at those odds, I just wouldn't be particularly gone on him there, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. No strong opinions, I suppose, the Arkle, but Jesus, it's going to be a fair watch and brief, and there will be huge ramifications.
Yeah,
huge ramifications for Cheltenham thereafter. And better betting race on the shape of it anyway is the 3:30, the Paddy Power Irish Gold Cup. This is a hell of a race. Gallopin de Champ is going for his fourth. What I a quick check. A horse has won 4. Can you name him? Dermo, Tony. Yes, well done, Tony. Tony's the reigning quiz champion, and he keeps after you hopped to one in on us last week, Tony. A quiz question. I said I'm going to keep hammering with these. So Gallopin de Champ going for his fourth. Beaver Sam only won 3. I think if Gallopin de Champ wins 4 of these and 2 Gold Cups, he's going to go down as probably the best Irish horse since Arkle, really. But it's hard to do for a 10-year-old. So 4, 10 or over horses have won it this century, and I'd say a lot have tried. That's 4 out of 25, so it's not that many. After Fury comes here, having won the Savage Chase. The one I'd love to see win is Haiti Glory. Like, for a horse to be running the Betfred Chase, winning a Welsh National, going for an Irish Gold Cup, that's proper 1990s campaigning of a horse. And I just think it'd be great to see an English horse come over and do it. And I'd love to see him win and go on and win the Gold Cup just for racing that, you won't be afraid to race him. Fact find, imagine won't go. I know the way you're thinking's in there again. Who knows? Paddy, we'll start with you this time. You're the guest, and this is the biggest race of the weekend. And it's a hell of a race. You can kind of rattle through them and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for me, Cass, any time that I won't say he's not been ripe or he's not been ready, but any time that they're maybe looking a little bit further down the line with Gallopin de Champ, they don't ride him as aggressive as, the days when he's come out on top. I mean, for me, it was a career best when he won this last year. So aggressive from the front, a horse that really thrives on it. And they didn't do that here last time. Look, he still ran well. And even at the back of the last, you'd have put him bang in there with a huge squeak, and he wasn't beaten all that far, and he bumped into a horse who's younger legs and has started to fulfill his potential in Affordale Fury. So the thing here, though, is the horse you mentioned, Haiti, Killers, like there's going to be plenty of pace on here if they want to be aggressive on Galloping des Champs. They won't be getting lonely on the front end here. So it's going to be a well-run race. But the thing is, he just comes alive around Leopardstown for me, and certainly on the days they want him as well. But there was definitely the English horse there, Haiti Killers, and it sounds like they're going to come. He'll go through that ground, and he's a big old-fashioned type, isn't he? He's a bit of a grinder, so I don't care how much water they've got at Leopardstown. I wouldn't think that Rebecca Curtis is too worried about any of this pictures she'll have seen this morning. We've got to mention the mare down the bottom, Spindleberry. She's 5-5 over fences, and in fairness, the owner has chirped up once or twice, hasn't he? And actually has mentioned the Gold Cup. And you know, I don't think Willie has sort of knocked it back really. And the other one that I wanted to mention was the I know the way you're thinking, because he's just gone missing a little bit, hasn't he? I mean, that run the last day, he never come out of a trot, really. And you could see Gavin Cromwell was scratching his head after. There's a few of these, obviously, they've got the Grand National in mind. So this is going to be a little bit of a stepping stone. But wouldn't be surprised now to see a little bit of a sharper effort from him this time. But I'm just like you, Cass. I do hope that the English horse travels, because I think this is right up his street. There'd be no hiding place, and this won't be for the faint-hearted. So I do hope that he travels over.
Yeah. Oh, he's coming over all right, and he'll have a great chance, I'd imagine. Tony, you backed Affordale Fury, and we're obviously very happy with him at Christmas. Do you give him a chance of going in again for Nolan? It'd be great to see as well, you know. But he's a sharper price today. How have you seen the race?
Yeah. I think I'd prefer him to go straight to Cheltenham, because he's another horse that's kind of at a busy period as well. He's had 4 runs before the turn of the year. But I don't think the reasons for him improving. I think the natural progression, because he was one of the youngest horses, not the youngest horse in the field at Christmas. And I also think he's going to be better getting the lead, which, as Paddy says, there is going to be pace on in this. And I'd say soft the ground, because they've always been saying about the worried about ground from and things like that. Although soft the ground is arguably going to suit Galloping des Champs as well, Haiti Killers, Spindleberry, I know the way you're thinking. They're all going to enjoy that. Just one thought, is there any chance he runs Gaelic Warrior here? I know that kind of we're saying about the aversion to Leopardstown before, but if he's not running here, he's not running anywhere before Cheltenham, I don't think. That King George was a farce of a race. Now, I wouldn't be taking anything from that in the sense of the form meaning much. I'd say Gaelic Warrior just couldn't go any faster now on that ground. And I wouldn't be surprised if the result come out any different way the next day if the 4 of those are to meet in Cheltenham.
Where would he be in the market? Really does tend to just declare him all at this meeting. He's 16-1 there now, you know, presumably not going to run.
Yeah,
let's say he's declared.
Yeah, that's a place not
let's say he's declared Thursday morning.
Somewhere between 3 to 1.
Second favourite anyway.
7-2. Yeah, I would say a second favourite.
Yeah, I would have said 7-2, something like that. I'd say you're right. And the rest of them, Tony, like, do you give any chance to a rag here? Or like Lecky Watson, I'd be very interested watching again with a view to the Grand National, because he went around the inside the last day, wasn't put into the race, and heavy ground's not going to suit him. So you'd be watching him if they do the same again, just to maybe mind the mark or get dropped a pound or two. Was there any you thought could get into it at a price or anything?
Not really. I do think those few at the top now, they're all coming into it kind of in form. You're giving a bit of a life to one there at a big price.
Yeah, I look, I'm boring people probably talking about Stellar Story, but if you were to ask me a perfect scenario of how I could back Stellar Story, I'd say he would have ran a couple of times on good ground, and you'd be giving me 50-1 in a grade 1 with a strong pace on heavy. And there's a chance you're going to get that. So I think 50-1 is absolutely massive. He's ran 7 times on ground, good or better. He's placed 2 of those times and basically ran life with all the rest of them, which would have included his last 3 runs. When he gets heavy ground, he's won 6 out of 10 and he's placed on 9 of them. So he's just a heavy ground horse, and he's going to get his perfect conditions. If you look at the race the last day, he ran at the Sables. He was only beaten 11 lengths, and he was right up the inside rail. As we know, that's no good. He was still there jumping 2 out,
Yeah.
and he made a really bad error 4 out. He pecked on landing badly. I thought that it completely takes the steam out of him, but didn't. He was still nearly there, upsides jump for the last, only beating 11 lengths. I mean, if he's put into the race, there's a strong pace on, he's flying home. Look, this is it. This is Stellar Stories. This is Stellar Stories Gold Cup, the Irish Gold Cup, and I think 50 to 1. It's a dream of a price for him. I could be wrong about the horse, but this is the day for him. Diarmuid, Stellar Story, would you follow me in Dermo? I'm boring you about him with a long time.
Look, you have to listen to me with Pat's Fancy and all these other horses. I listen to you as many times as you talk about it, Kaz. I would have come round really much so to Haiti Colours here. I do think the pace will work out very well. I think sometimes you can think that the horses from the back could kind of get into it. I don't think they will here. I think Affordale Fury will go.
Can I sorry to interrupt and not to be talking over each other. We're always giving out about this on YouTube comments, and we apologise. Where is all the pace? Affordale Fury kind of made his own run on the last day. Stellar Story was upsides. Paddy, Tony, you're saying there'll be a raging pace.
Galloping
Galloping will go on.
Paddy's kind of said it there. When Galloping's fit, they'll probably go
Yes,
forward with
it will be him, Haiti Colour, and Affordale. We'll all want it. They'll all want it.
What I would say to that is, they went on last year and Galopin put up an enormous figure and performed flat in the Gold Cup after. So I don't see why they're going to leave a Gold Cup after them by absolutely bombing on around Leopardstown this time.
I'd say with a 10-year-old, you take what you can get, and you whatever day he's there, you take it. To be honest with you, I wouldn't see them. I wouldn't see them sitting back here now in an Irish Gold Cup. But I think Haiti Colour. Sean Bowen took it up the last day in the Welsh Grand National.
I think he'll make it.
Because I think he'll make it if he has to, as well Affordale. But I think if they give him that in that ground, he'll just keep going. He's a super horse. For some reason, I don't like him for a Cheltenham Gold Cup for some reason, but I think Leopardstown is going to suit him down to the absolute ground. He'll keep finding, and at 8 to 1 or so, I do think he's a very good bet here. I would like if Gaelic Warrior ran, because Haiti Colour will be a bigger price. Gaelic Warrior, to me, he just hates Leopardstown. He just can't stand the place. And I would just be, God, I'd love now for him to make a market. But I think Tony could be right. I think I saw on Twitter Joe Chambers had quoted something earlier with those eyes emojis he pulls out every now and then, and it was for Galopin Des Champs winning the Irish Gold Cup. So I do wonder if something's afoot there, but that could just be plummossing. But was kind of interested there. But Haiti Colours for me, guess.
Yeah, lovely horse, Haiti Colour. It'd be great to see. Hark back to the days of What a Friend coming over and the Listener, these kind of horses coming over. Denman came over, of course. I couldn't tell you was it this race or the Christmas race, but yeah, they were the glory days. And look, they might be coming back. The English are on the turn, and it's good to see. And Diarmuid, are we going to talk about the rest of the race on Saturday now? Do you want to would we do? Tony, I know you like winning the bumper, so we let the lads get their thoughts together. It's the...
I have two, actually, yeah.
It's the Geldings bumper on the Saturday at 4:40. The DRF Future Stars bumper, Charismatic Kid. It's only a game, a kind of favourite. Tony, I believe you, but it's only a game as the horse you put up for the bumper at Cheltenham, isn't it?
Yeah, no, look, it's only the game as the horse. I think there's back a few others for Cheltenham. I think he's only going to put up on the show here. Yeah, I do like him for the champion bumper. I don't particularly like his price here, though. He's quite a short favourite. I'd not be disappointed if he wins, but I think there's maybe another way of looking at this. Obviously, the bumper picture has changed here big time in the last probably 2-3 weeks. And Mullins has launched maybe 3, 4, 5 horses that have all kind of shot into shortish prices for them. But none of them are here. And nor is the horse that he had win at Christmas, what is it, Bentra Hill or Benstrigo, whatever his name was, he won the 28th. Yeah, quite a good winner on that. So no Mullins horse, smallish kind of field. Do like its only game, but I think at the prices, I think Rajuco Mac is a bit over. He will really like the ground, and his form has worked out particularly well over hurdles in the last few weeks. He was narrowly beaten by Ballyfad at Punchestown, kind of having travelled better than him, and Ballyfad had the run under his best that time. I think the fourth come out of that, and his fourth was beaten 25 lengths, as won a maiden hurdle since. And then he went down to Limerick and had a right set to one of Mullins's, and he came out on top. And the third from that come out and won a maiden hurdle with Navan since. So I think he's kind of, even with the Mullins horse after coming out, he's kind of around the 6 to 1 mark. I think that's a little bit overpriced. And yeah, just form is really standing up, which isn't. Some of the bumper is just pure A test stuff, but this actually does have a bit of A test and
Yeah,
form
and
to
he'll
it
be
as well.
ridden by the jockey with the best name in the game, Buster, Mr. Buster. Dermo, he's good.
Yeah, I
as well.
wonder. Yeah.
He is good.
He is. Diarmuid, you said you two on the Saturday at the rest of the cars. Shout them out.
Yeah, county final, who I have mentioned before. I'm kind of back in love with that Limerick race, obviously, Cass. Did you never you never let me forget? But I was harsh on him, but when you actually watch him, he misses the last, he flies home. He's here off a mark of 128, his county final. This is
What's he
sorry?
running in, Dermo? What's he running in?
He's sorry. He is running in the 225 at Leopardstown.
3 mile handicap.
3 mile handicap.
3 miles.
So
yeah.
What did he get? Did he get left on the same mark after?
He got
Limerick?
£2.
That's probably fairly lenient now.
And
£2, yeah.
his run before that was in a novice handicap hurdle. So this is his second run in the handicap, not his first run, which is big with JP. And in that run, he ran off 120, and he was second to a horse called Colquito Bello, who has won again since. That day, he gave Colquito Bello £20, and Colquito Bello was rated 100. He was rated 120. Colquito Bello has won again since and is now rated 123. And let's just say county final was given a friendly all kind of time of it. He wasn't beating up the running anyway. So he runs here off 128. I think that's unbelievably generous. That run at Limerick at Christmas was very unlucky. He gave Kazansi plenty of it. He's proven on this ground. We know he gets the trip. Second run in a handicap for JP McManus. I just think, I know he's 7-1. It's a boring old favourite, but still, I just think he's unbelievably well handicapped. I think he goes off 3-1, 7-2 on the day. And speaking of 3-1, 7-2, I think Ballysack's Hank in the 405 at Leopardstown, 13-2 there. I think he should be short in this already. The Irish 2 mile 1 division isn't very good. There's just all these horses are racing each other all year long. This lad's relatively new now. If you watch back the Paddy Power Chase jumping 2 out, he trades very short. He's absolutely cantering through them. He doesn't get home, but he has form over this trip. He wants it a bit further, but that's absolutely fine on that ground. The only doubt is you want that chase track to dry out a little bit. He's definitely a better ground horse, but he could get away with it here. But he's very well handicapped. Like his run there. His run there in the American Grand National behind Zana here, his run at Christmas time, he's really, really well handicapped. Gavin Cromwell horses, I know what Tony's saying, Bridie's Bow it was, who cut out very badly as well the last day. They're not quite back, all of them anyway, but...
Yeah, I think she had an issue now. I think she picked up the gas on the way around, so it wasn't as bad as it looked.
Perfect.
Actually.
But this lad to me now he also looks very well handicapped, and this is not a good race. So I think Ballysack's hacking the 405 and county final in the 3 mile handicap case.
Okay, very good case for county final. I thought they're Dermo fair play. Paddy, anything else on the Saturday, or do you want to move on to the Sunday?
Just a quick couple on the Saturday, Cass, in that same race that Dermo speaks about, Ballysack's Hank. Just quite interesting. Obviously, Paul Nolan came over and bagged a couple of nice winners at Donny, didn't he, the other day? Great bit of placing, I thought, by Paul Nolan. And he's obviously got Alan Piown-Darrick, who won this race last year. And because he had a good year last year on Piown-Darrick, he's had to take his medicine a little bit and just wait his turn. His form has been very, very ordinary this time round, but he's got a great record here at Leopardstown, and he comes back off a reduced mark, still a bit higher than what he won off last year, but coming back to the track, I think is huge. And just to mention again the horse that Tony mentioned in the bumper, the Marine horse, it's only again because that Boise Town, who John Gleeson had to squeeze through, didn't he, in that bumper that day? They had a proper bit of argy-bargy inside the final furlong, but the best horse won on the day, and Boise Town came out afterwards and bolted up at Down Royal. It is always difficult to get a gauge of the Brazil form, just simply because his volume of runners is very small. But this looks like it's been the plan, and he has got some nice form in the book. And again, just some of the bigger boys have stayed away on Saturday, so it might just be a race that's there for the taking.
Will John Gleeson be back to ride him, Paddy? Do you know?
He was meant to try and be back the other week, because I'm pretty sure his parents bought that, the horse Brazil used to have, Panda Boy, to go hunter chasing. he was desperately keen to try and get back and ride him, and sure enough, he went and won. But he's obviously struggling a little bit. So to be honest, I haven't heard, but I'd say he'd be trying his best to get back and ride this fella now.
Okay. We'll text him here while we're seeing, and we'll see, can we find out if he's going to be back the weekend. I'd say he gave him such a good ride the last day, he could be important to him. Okay, on to the Sunday then, and it starts, Dermo, you talk away here about this race on text, John. The Labrooks Novice Chase, 110, Final Demand 1-2, K Doughty 30-2. You must have loads to say about this.
Oh, this is exactly my kind of race. Look, I'll keep talking, listeners, just because Cass is acting now like Fabrizio Romano now reaching out to some footballers' agent. But this is a race that I'm just not massively keen on kind of getting too overly involved in. Final Demand's a horse that I'm not 100% sure on. It's the kind of race that I think if I was having a really good Saturday, I'd probably play one or two against them. I think K Doughty was very good the last day, really, really good the last day. Western Fold has become a bit of a smart man's choice for the Brown Advisory and stuff because of the fact that he's still a novice, which is really interesting because he's he won a very big handicap, obviously. Kitzbühel's going to Sandown. So the other play here as well is that if you knew that one of the outsiders was running like a goal dancer, but he's also in the handicap chase there, you could find a good each-way angle in here potentially. But I think this is Final Demands to lose. I think it's he can win this, shorten up again. I'll probably take him on at Cheltenham. It's just, to me now, K Doughty's a good horse, Western Fold's a good horse, but I'm hoping Final Demand will have a bit better competition at Cheltenham, guess.
Attentat there, lads, or we move on, Final Demand. Are we going to take him on? No. So I'd say we just move on because the next race is an absolute belter. It's the Tarsaws Ireland Novice Hurdle. Talk is 2-1. King Rascal Grey 130. Bit of a talking horse now. A lot of talk about him. You hear things out of the Mullins Yard about him. And Ballyfad 4-1. Paddy, go to you first. There really is a good renewal of this race, and it's going to be a big pointer to the two races at Cheltenham, the 2 mile and the 2.5 mile.
Oh, absolutely, Cass. I'd say this is possibly one of, if not the strongest Grade 1, I think, over the 2 days. Obviously, I mean, look, plenty of people won't be keen on going in on a horse who has hit the deck last time in Talk the Talk, but he looked like he was coming there to win his race. But they were still quite well bunched. But nonetheless, we've already mentioned Ballyfad, haven't we? I think Ballyfad is very, very smart, and because there was some good performances at the same meeting that he won at, he possibly didn't really get the attention that he should have. I think he's clocked some good numbers, Ballyfad. Very, very likeable. Have you heard the crack about Barry O'Connell supplementing each to their own here, boys?
No,
well, he hasn't supplemented. He talked about it, but he hasn't actually done it. I did just looking at it here. Yeah, he did mention it, but it hasn't happened.
Okay. I suppose the ground being the way it is as well would probably, he's never keen to run horses on terrible ground. Barry O'Connell. The other horse I wanted to mention as well, Blake, I thought could be a bit of an each way prospect here. I think that was a serious run in the Royal Bond, wasn't beaten all that far, but yeah, without a doubt, this is possibly the strongest Grade 1 on the card, but I do really rate this Ballyfad.
Yeah, Ballyfad, very good the last day at Leopardstown, and I think the horse who did he beat? Leader
Dallier won,
who absolutely skated in there at Punchestown the other day, or Fairyhouse. So my usual problem of not remembering which is which between Punchestown and Fairyhouse. Diarmuid, it really is a good race. I'm mad keen to oppose Talk the Talk. I hear he's absolutely flying up the hill at Owning Hill. He's meant to be burning up the Gallops altogether up there. But yes, he's a leery old big chest up now, and he's a horse I'd like to be taking on. I'd probably go Ballyfad each way at 4s, given how good he was. He's probably sure to give his run and would like the bad ground. But which one for you?
I disagree and I agree. So I don't think Talk the Talk is anywhere near as leery as you think he is. I think he's a big dope of a thing, but he's not leery. He just needs to figure out his feet. He was definitely going to win at Christmas, but keen to take him on though at the same time. King Rascal Grey as well. Look, lads, I'm on Ballyfad as well. I had a big meh next to that performance, kind of just that wasn't really thought it was a muck of a race, really, in that he kind of bounded away from them. But I went back and watched it again after Tony was so keen on it. And it was actually a monstrous performance when you watch it back. He jumps a bit right and everything else. But if they can manage to kind of straighten him up or bury him down the inside or something like that, he'll have a much easier time of it here. And 4-1 is definitely the value. It's an each way play to nothing, so I don't have much to add there, Cass, apart from that I'm following you all in there on Ballyfat.
Yeah, TK Keenan Ballyfat here, or
No, not as much with the ground. Elliot, and I know he won his couple of bumpers. The Punchestown bumper was a testing ground, but Elliot was putting improved performance at Christmas down to the faster ground, and visually it looked like that. He did look to be kind of hopping off it. So no, that'll be putting a little bit of question mark over his chance to the ground. Like obviously King Rascal Grey wouldn't have looked necessarily like a horse that would be sent go to a Grade 1 and be a 3-1 favourite based on his bumper career, but he probably won one of the hottest maiden hurdles of the season there. I said the hottest one was probably in Gore, and that the Devil won, and then maybe the second best one was this one in Limerick that Cooper's horses after coming out of. But yeah, this would be a race that I was planning on going with Ballyfat, but the ground is putting me off, so I'm going to have to have a re-look at this during the week.
Okay, interesting. Now, I just think that they don't know how good Ballyfat is, and I can't ever decide, do I like that or not like it? Do you know, everyone always says, I love when a horse is useless at home, whereas I'm really thinking, Jesus, if they're useless at home, like, when are they going to start showing that on the track? That's what I always think. They're probably going to start doing that on the track someday when they wise up to it, you know. Oh, we've a live update here from John Gleeson. I should bring him here. I'd be like Matt Chapman, ringing up fellas and giving it the bigger. I was meant to ride a ferry Saturday.
Hopefully that's where the comparison ends there, is it?
Yeah. He was meant to ride a ferry on Saturday in Limerick today, but both went, and he'll be back on Saturday. So John will be on. You could do the jockey book and make sure you tell your father now to make sure get that booking in and look after the Waterford men, Paddy. So John Gleeson will be back on It's Only a Game in the bumper. Right, move on. 210. Leopardstown and Paddy, I'm going to go to you first again because you were talking about Barry Connell a minute ago, and I'd say we're windy enough on Marie Nationale showing up here. Majbourne's actually 7-4 favourite now, 2-1 Marie Nationale, 7-2 Solness, and Nurgamine the old by 10s. Found a 50, 16-1, and I'd say if you fastest fingers first there, that mightn't last too long. That's actually with our sponsors, Bet365. Marie Nationale, little question mark over the ground now, Paddy. Barry might get a bit windy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we had all the Mickey Mouse talk, didn't we, after the Clarence House at Ascot? But I think he's got plenty of previous Barry Connell. He doesn't like any of these horses of his running in proper winter ground. And the one thing I would say about Marine National, although his record over fences is good, his Leopardstown record isn't great. I mean, how Sean Flanagan stopped on him the last day, but momentum wise, I don't think it actually took from his actual race all that much. I mean, he just bumped into a horse who I thought was given a peach on the day in Solness, and again, sort of in the Gallop and Deschamps kind of bracket, just loves aggression, and he was obviously going. He's looking to go back to back in the race Solness. So yeah, I think the market is a bit of a giveaway here that maybe Barry Connell isn't going to turn up. One thing that I would love to see, if I seen the decks whenever they do them on the Thursday or the Friday cast, I would love to see a pair of blinkers on Majborough, because I think there's a couple of things with him. I think he is a bit gutless, but more so than anything, I think he's got a good bit more jumping ability than what he's letting on here. He just gets very, very casual. He's never actually looked like actually falling. Majborough, I think a pair of blinkers would grow another leg. When it comes to the jumping department, but it's probably doubtful, But even the last day, he ran okay, but I think that there's another gear for him there to go up through. I would love to see some description of headgear on him, but if Marine Nationale doesn't turn up here, it does blow it open a little bit. And the thing is, they are not going to want to let Solness off loose on the front end, which I'm sure they won't. Interesting enough, though, he himself won't want to be jumping out to his right either.
Yeah, and that's shaping up to be a very interesting race. I'm still a Majborough believer. I think he could have won the last day if he got the gap there, but you definitely don't think that. We've been through this before, so but whose camp are you in?
Yeah, no, definitely with Solness. I was trying to take the 7-2 earlier, so I took the 3-2 or 3-1 not so long ago. I forgot about the 7-2. I think Solness, just Leopardstown suits him. I don't think Madgeburg, he won't be stopping or anything. And I'm always reticent to be too negative on a Willie Mullins horse when it starts to steadily be knocked in the market like this, like he has all week. He's been, very steadily making his way up towards favouritism anyway. So I say he's obviously doing kind of whatever else at home, but they love him. But I just don't think, regardless of anything else, that he can jump that speed at 2 miles. And I think of all the horses to be trying to chase down at Leopardstown with jumping frailties, Solness is not one of them I'd like to be chasing down. So I think at 7-2 or so, or 3-1 now even. Sorry, I think Solness is one hell of a bet. Like I think he's as close to like an absolute. He's just a cracking bet, and he absolutely loves it there. He might have improved for that break at Christmas. There's every reason he can step forward again from that. And this is his course. He loves this ground, loves this distance, loves everything here. I think Madgeburg has it all to do to beat Solness.
Jeez, I'd be very worried about Solness now if it was heavy ground. I think he skips across the ground at Leopardstown. He gets that typical Leopardstown.
He's handled that ground no problem in the past, though. He's won in heavy.
He has won in heavy in France and on Mickey Mouse race, and he won at that.
He won in soft. Like, it won't be much worse by Sunday than soft, I don't think, in the chase course.
Yeah. I just think he's a better horse on better ground. That'll be my Solness worry. Tony, am I wrong there? You're a great bit of a handle on horses on ground.
Yeah, no. Well, look, you see the French. I just would not trust the French going the description.
No, but he's won in soft in Ireland.
Heavy ground there,
heavy in France. I wouldn't look at that even.
Yeah, heavy. I just wouldn't pass any remarks on that. I would be leaning Solness, but like you, Stephen, I probably would be worried about the ground. I'd say Eden is off to the push. And again, Paddy, I think he's going right suits him around Leopardstown because he kind of puts him out on the outside ground, the outer of the track. Whereas bloody Madgeburg at any other track going left-handed, at the left hand of the track's probably advantage, but finish up putting him on the worst of the ground. But yeah, I just would want to see maybe the few races on Saturday and see what was the chase track really deep. Do they get rain? Because there is bits of rain forecast about. It's a largely dry forecast, but a little bit of uncertain stuff in there. So lean towards Solness, but wait and see what the ground is.
His record in Ireland and England on the ground, Dermo, like he was 5th beaten 19 lengths. He did win a Danmore off, I think it was a Danmore. He won a Leopardstown handicap chase. Cornerstone Welsh was claiming 5 off 138, but he nearly wants to be winning that at the class he has. Then he was beaten 6 lengths by Madara. He was beaten 42 legs by Unexpected Party, beaten 25 legs fourth by John Bond. Like he definitely doesn't show his best, I think, on the ground. So that's why I'd be worried about him. Maybe found a 50 on the ground, but I think Madgeburg might actually win it, would be my thoughts. The 320 then is the champion hurdle. And it's coming down to a match. Dermo, seeing as I've upset you now about Solness, I'm going to give you a first go here again. You can get yourself back.
I know you're too long there for you to upset me anymore, Stephen Cassidy.
I know. But before we came on, Dermo didn't want to be doing any review. No Lydia talk. Look, just let's get the bloody review done because Dermot's in a bad mood. So I don't want to put him in a worse mood. And we're going to get him back on the snap now. Who's going to win, Dermo? Lassie Mount or Brighter Days Ahead?
I think Lossiemouth wins this, wins it well, and I think the Lossiemouth, the Groogy double for the mares and the champion hurdle is worth an investment now because it'll only shorten coming up to the time. I think the Jade de Groogy will end up in the mare. She was 20 to 1, she's now 12, so I'm far from alone in this. But I think the double of 2s and 12s at 38 to 1 or so is worth a punt here. I think Brighter Days Ahead is an excellent mare, really, really good mare. I think the run at Christmas time gets marked up a bit because I do believe that Lossiemouth's had that race won by the time she gets to her. And if you actually watch it again, Lossiemouth's going on again as soon as she gets to her right behind her. Brighter Days Ahead has every excuse to improve, but I actually think this ground and everything else will actually help Lossiemouth because she does arguably want a little bit further. In my opinion, Lossiemouth is a better mare, and I think she's a more straightforward mare. And if I would be having a punt on her, and I just think that once she wins this, I think they cannot turn away from a wide open champion hurdle then. And I think she, I actually can't see her beating her, which is a mad statement, I know, but considering the 5-4, 6-4, but I just think she's a much better mare.
The race setup will be interesting, Tony, won't it? And do you know what could be interesting? The jockey bookings, because it's going to be very interesting to see who rides Amsterdam if he runs. El Fabiola will obviously be ridden by JJ.
JJ,
Like,
yeah.
Then you have Paneras, Ballyburn, and Amsterdam. Now Patrick seems to nearly have second pick. Do you want Patrick on Ballyburn? Do you want Patrick on Amsterdam again? That's going to be very interesting. Tony, I'm sure you have some opinions on the pace race, but brighter days ahead. Try and make it this time, and will it set it up for Lossiemouth, or could she get away? It's hard to know.
They still do have I think King of Kingsfield was he in at one point, or you could have supplemented him in if I do pacing, but they do still have Cassidy, a lad there. He went to make the run at Christmas, and they might just do that again. I'm not dogmatic on this. I do agree with Jim that Lossiemouth did a lot of running from 2 out to the last to get to kind of Amsterdam. But I also can't forget that Elliot said that
Still in the box,
had 3 weeks in the box in November, which is which is a fairly horrible crap for a Grade 1, and Lossiemouth had a run. So I would just lean brighter days ahead, but I'd want big on 6-4 anyway. But like that, I think she's probably the one that'll drift, because I'd assume at this point Mullins will have had plenty of winners. But yeah, I think if she got to that part 2-1, maybe I'd be more interested.
Yeah. There's a lot of these races. You know so much about them. The market knows it. It's very hard to see a bet, even though you'd be mad keen to watch them. It's that kind of a weekend, and the handicaps might give you a better value proposition. Paddy, you've been a Lossiemouth fan all along, haven't you? Are you sticking with her this weekend?
I think I would. I don't think we've ever seen her at her absolute best round here at Leopardstown, to be honest. And it'll be interesting. I wonder if they do ride brighter days ahead a bit more forward this time, or off the back of what Elliot said. But I mean, there's literally nothing between these two mares. They're both 7-year-old. They're both rated 159, and brighter days ahead has not actually had. She only had a couple of goes around Leopardstown. And obviously in this race last year, Townend, he stayed loyal, didn't he, to State Man? This is where we had the Seagulls, wasn't it, with Lossiemouth last year, where she took a pearler, but nothing has gone wrong since then. I think, obviously, Patrick, it didn't work out for him on Amsterdam last time, but you don't actually see Danny, from what I can recall, he doesn't seem to ride too many of these Donnelly horses. I could be wrong there, but not that I can remember too many. I just think that Danny could be well suited, because he looks quirky this Amsterdam, both in the fighting fifth, and obviously he took off with Patrick, didn't he, the last day. So I think he would be a Danny Mullins ride all day long, but real question marks about how good he is, or how much he even wants it here, to be honest. And I think El Fabiolo is worth a mention. That run last time over hers, that is strong form for him. I know he's probably dropped off plenty of people's radars now that he's gone back hurdling, but that's good form. So interesting, but I'm not going to desert Lossiemouth here. I think it is priced up as a match. That's what it'll be. I think it'll be very little between them, but she'll get a bit of compensation for this race where she missed out last year.
Yeah. Interesting what Paddy says about El Fabiola. He beat Tenkillen, of course, who won at the weekend. That's Balance Tower, who was very impressive with Cheltenham at the weekend. Yeah, so
for sure.
That El Fabiola form is working out, and who knows that El Fabiola, will he jump slick enough in an Irish champion hurdle? You'd have your doubts there. Right, rattle through the rest of the card, lads. I'll put up, we'll go across the screen, Dermo, Tony, Paddy, in that order, right? And I'm going to put one up very quickly. Stormheart in the 2-man handicap hurdle, second last year. Now, he's 7 pounds higher, but he's a year older, a year stronger. I think he's still only a 5, or he's probably 6-year-old now. And he's just a horse I love, and he's got a real roundy action. I think you could end up with Townend on him, so 16-1. Willie loves winning that race. That's the old Pierce hurdle that they've moved to Leopardstown, that I wish they'd move away and have it somewhere else and make a big thing of it. It used to be my favourite race in Irish racing. And that's an aside. But yeah, Stormheart 16-1 there. So I think he could have a big chance on heavy ground, which the hurdle track will be. Dermo, the rest of the card on Sunday.
Stormheart, I completely agree. That was going to be one of my ones. I actually had a Gigginstown double. I thought Paul Townend rides him, Cassie. He got very short. Another one that I think could shorten dramatically at 16-1 or so in the handicap chase. Sorry, that is at 245. Gold Dancer. could well go dramatically shorter here. Huge run last time behind Final Demand, travels up behind him. Now he could go for that Final Demand race. That's why I'm not committing to an anti-post betting him just yet. Or I might have a small few quid, but that was a seriously good performance last time. He's came highly vaunted from much vaunted from France. Heard a good lot about him last season. 2 seasons ago, he never quite got there, but he seems to be getting his act together. He loomed up beside Final Demand last time at Limerick and looked like he was going to pass him by, and then Final Demand kind of kicked on because he's such a classy horse. I think a mark of 150s could well be half lenient, especially in a race like this. This handicap chase is very odd if you look through it. It's basically Gordon and Willie are having a set-off here with about 16 runners each, and there's about 3 other trainers in it. It's extremely odd, but he looks very smart to me, and off a mark of 150. If Final Demand wins and he's running here, you could see an awful lot of tweets going out saying, look at that form now. So I think he could shorten up their cast as well.
Okay. Tony, we know you like one in the Mayor's Bumper. So do you want to start there?
Yeah, I would. Just an outsider, I'd give a bit of a chance to probably not a massively strong race in terms of numbers. Some reason a wildly big field for this. I would be a little bit of a fan of Brosna, Shane, Sonny Carey. Although really soft ground might not be her thing. They took her early in the season at Navan on testing ground. And actually the race that I want to back a mare out of it, Royal Hillsborough, Crawford mare. She kind of she's 2 goodish runs kind of on slow ground. Second to Old School Outlaw at Navan, kind of travelled well into that. And then she ran back at Leopardstown at Christmas. That race was a little bit of a pace collapse, and she was opposite the whole way. She lasted a long time for me. On ground that she was improving, and I think she might be better on back on this slow ground. And also that was kind of against the geldings, so I think going back against her own sex there, she's well able to get into the shake up there, and she's among the outsiders here. Definitely Keenan back in Horry Straight. And the yard of a good record in the race as well for with a small yard of a good record in the race, like one of once, and have the horse mare who placed.
I feel like big price ones can get into this race. So at Nel Sunday or Paddy or Tony, or will I move on to Paddy? Yeah, go back, Paddy, on Sunday.
Yeah, on the Sunday, Cass, I quite like the look of. We were having a bit of chat about the Charles Byrnes teams, weren't we? And in that, the handicap hurdle, the 352, a horse in there called I Started a Joke. He actually ran at the DRF last year in one of those bumpers. He was only 4 lengths behind called Cannon, and was only beaten 11 lengths in the Cheltenham bumper. He was backed off the boards to win his maiden hurdle last time. So he goes handicapping this time round off what I think is a workable mark of 126. This fella actually has an Albert Barlett and a Turner's entry at Cheltenham. So they obviously rate him. And I would think if they're going to be heading in that direction, they think they'd be doing a bit of damage in a handicap off a mark of 126.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be a hot pot in the race, and Charles Byrnes has definitely won that race before. 3 years in a row,
several
I think.
Times, yeah.
I think he won it 3 years in a row, which is pretty amazing achievement. Right, we're quickly going to hear from Pat Cooney, and then we'll be back with best bets of the weekend from the boys. Joined now by our old friend Pat Cooney from Bet365. And Pat, we traditionally start with your travels and travails. So did you go to Cheltenham at the weekend?
No, I was in the office actually, and I was quite lucky in many respects because I'd have had to stay for Cheltenham for that last race, and it seemed to take place about midnight, really, didn't we? So it would have been a long journey home for me. So I'm not normally chuffed about being in the office, but I was certainly last weekend.
Yeah. You dodged a late trip home. Good racing though, Pat, and a big one was Grey Dawn and disappointed, didn't he? And Spillane Tower. Good to see Jimmy Mangan back on top. And he made a bit of a move in your Gold Cup market.
Yeah, Spillane Tower. I think we all had him penciled in as a lively outsider a couple of seasons ago, the type to progress all the way through. But he was certainly back in business. What he actually achieved remains open to question, though. But he's a likeable horse, and he wouldn't have that much to find on the book. We were 40-1 prior to the race. We went 20 immediately after, and there seemed to be a general consensus that 20 was over generous. So we've cut him to 14-1. I'm presuming Jack Kennedy will keep the ride, and if it comes up soft, which is no gimme by any means, he's got that sort of each way profile that people will be looking at thinking, in maybe when we get to the Gold Cup day, people are thinking, oh, I don't know, this is impossible. Then he might be one that certainly floats a few people's boats. So he's an interesting horse, but I think he wants soft ground. But it was good to see him back in business over the weekend anyway.
Yeah, good to see Jimmy Mangan getting in the limelight again. He's a terrific man. And the champion hurdle market certainly must have changed utterly, Pat, because the new line disappointed. There's no two ways about it. And Sergino's obviously out for the rest of the season now, sadly. So how's the champion hurdle market looking now?
Well, it's back to playing lossy mouth bingo, really. I mean, I know connections always say we're going for the race that's easier to win. I mean, what's going to be harder for her to win? The mare's hurdle against Woodhoo of Gordon Elliott's, or the champion hurdle? I mean, bear in mind she received £7 from the geldings in that one. But we've made Lossy our 2-1 favourite for the race. The new line's now 11-4, Constitution Hill 6, Golden Ace 8, and Amsterdam. I know a few of the fellas in the office are back this at 33-1. And they were quite despondent, when he got beat last time out. But they're beginning to say now, well, I don't know, Amsterdam's a classy horse. So it's got that kind of a race with it where Lossy Mouth, she hasn't convinced everybody. She's got all these impressive-looking form figures. But, she doesn't take on the geldings that often. And as for the new line, honestly, I don't know how good this horse is. I wasn't impressed with him when he won at the festival last year. You couldn't have been impressed with him at the fight in fifth. And I wasn't impressed with him on Saturday, really. I mean, the bare form of what he achieved is, well, you did what you were supposed to do after Sergino's mishap. I've no idea how good he is and whether he is a true 2-miler. So it's got I think the front end of the champion has got a very flaky look. And when Constitution Hill's your third favourite, then it's game on. We might be getting a shock result with this one as bookmakers.
Yeah, we might. Although there's not that many horses in it, Pat. Do you know what I mean? Is that even which of the outsiders could go? Castledale Lad, Neiman Lion, maybe Alexi. It's hard to see an outsider getting into it. Do you don't think he's a 2-miler, the new line, or good enough?
No, not really. But I think he could get away with it in the champion hurdle, and we'll all be none the wiser. But I think I'd be more interested in him going up in trip, maybe Aintree over the 2.5 miles. But it'll be interesting to see how the tactics of the champion hurdle are going to be very interesting. What they do with Constitution Hill. Presumably he'll come through Southwell with flying colours. I don't know. The whole race is a bit of a head scratcher to me. I wouldn't want to be back in any of the front 2 or 3 in the market at the moment myself, though. Yeah,
I hope a few of them get there because unreliable types like Brighter Days Ahead, Amsterdam, Fabiola, Constitution Hill. You'd hope a few of them get there to make some bit of a race with anyway for the champion hurdle. The DRF we're looking forward to this weekend, Pat. And in the context of the champion hurdle, we've got Lossiemouth and Brighter Days Ahead with a rematch. How's that shaping up in the market this weekend?
Yeah, well, there's not normally much between them when they do appear on the racetrack. There certainly wasn't last time. At the moment, Lossiemouth is 11-10, Brighter Days Ahead 6-4, and then we're 8-1 Barra, offering Amsterdam, El Fabiola, Ballyburn. They're all in the betting. An interesting one, I suppose, might be Poniros, who won the Triumph Hurdle at 100-1. He's a bit of a forgotten horse, I suppose, but it's all about what the final decks are on the day with this one, really. But I'd imagine Lossiemouth will continue to head the market, but it's going to be very interesting to see how Brighter Days Ahead gets on.
Yeah, it's going to be a belter of a race. Poneros, Ruby Walsh made the point that, they were going to go to Cheltenham with them at the weekend and decided not to because the Sergino and the new line, is that any easier than facing into Lossiemouth and Brighter Days Ahead? So they're going to stay at home and not have to travel. Makes sense to me. A couple of really good races then on the card. The Dublin Chase in particular looks like a bit of strength and depth, Pat.
Yeah, absolutely. And it depends how much credence you put to anything Barry Connell says about any of his horses, but Marine Nationale in particular. I mean, he seems incredibly bullish about the horse's chances. But I put the caveat there. He normally does talk his own ones up, but I think it was with good purpose in this occasion. And he's just about a narrow odds-on favourite for the DRF race, and he's now as short as 6-4 for the Champion Chase after Ilete Tomp's misfortune at Ascot last time out. But we are laying a little bit of marge for her in the race. He has been 3-1. Now he's been clipped to 5-2. And I would imagine a lot of people haven't totally given up on him. I know people say he jumps like a snooker table and everything, but he's a classy horse in his own right. And at prices, I think they'll get closer together in the market. Marine Nationality and Madgeborough. Of course, you've got Solness in, who tends to come alive at Leopardstown and Leopardstown only. He's an interesting runner. And one we have laid at a big price for this race is Founder 50 for Gordon Elliott. That probably says it's going to run rather than have a strong chance. But I think the 16-1 will go by the end of the final deck stage. But it's going to be fascinating. But I would suggest that Madgeborough, I think he must be working well, because we are laying decent money. I think the shrewder money seems to be landing on him than the favourite at short prices.
That's interesting. I actually backed this morning with yourselves only by night, Pat, at 33-1, and your 3 places anti-post. I thought she was obviously mullered by Marine Nationale the last day, and her Arkle, she could have won the Arkle on another day, and she won her only other start this season. And Gavin Cromwell coming back into form. I could see Only by Night getting involved, especially if the ground is soft. But we never know with the chase course at Leopardstown, dries out so quick. But Jesus, a lot of rain over here. Are you going over, Pat? Are you heading for?
No, we actually sponsor 2 days at Musselburgh, which it's called Scottish Champion Trials Day. We've had good horses win at that meeting. Greenatine won a novice chase there 1 year, but typically the trainers go up to Musselburgh for the goodish ground, so you tend to get more Aintree pointers than Cheltenham pointers. Musselburgh being a flat track, so Aintree probably and then maybe Ayr at the end of the season. But it's always good fun up there, and I'm there for my sins. There's no rugby as well this time around, which will make life a little bit easier in the city centre.
Very good. Is Musselburgh, what kind? Is it a nice town, Pat, if you're going into the city centre?
Oh yeah, there's lots to do. It's probably one of the most enjoyable cities I've been to. So you walk along Princes Street, have a look up the castle, and then there's so much to do. But it's great fun. And the track's about
I was about to ask,
drive.
is there a Musselburgh place? But those are Edinburgh. I didn't even know now. That'll show my knowledge of Scottish geography. And Pat, finally, the Irish Gold Cup. Galopin Des Champs is going for it again. He's even money after the Fury 11-2. Have you seen any money in that?
It's actually been quite an interesting market now. You've got the Welsh national winner, Haiti Kalor of Rebecca Curtis. A bold decision this. You don't get too many UK horses go over there for a race like this. But Rebecca's sending him over. And he was 20-1 2 weeks ago. And when he was confirmed as a runner for this, we've clipped him to 10. And we've laid the 10, and he's now 8-1. And another one that we've laid, and it's the mighty mare Spindlebury. Loads of ones by her name. We laid her at 20-1 again on I've got the figures here. The 9th of January, we laid 20-1, cut her to 16. And on the 19th of January, we laid 16, cut her to 12, and we've laid the 12. So she's going to be popular as well. As for Galopin, he's always popular at Leopardstown in a race like this. So I'd imagine the evens won't get too much bigger. Be interesting to see how Athledale Fury gets on in the market. I know the way you're thinking. Gavin Cromwell, of course, won the Thyestes the other day, but the way the market's shaping up, I think Galopin will continue to be very short throughout the betting throughout the week. Spindlebury and Haiti, they're going to have their backers as well, but it's a vibrant, couple of days at there. And for our sins, the best backed horse over the 2-day DRF meeting actually goes in the opener, the 115, the novice hurdle, and that's Dr. Steinberg of Willie Mullins. And we've actually laid this one for the Albert Bartlett, the potato race. He's now 6-1 for the Albert Bartlett. And again, on the 9th of Jan, bear in mind he hasn't run since then, but on the 9th of Jan, we were 4-1 for this race on Saturday, laid the 4. Then when the 21st of Jan, we laid the 3, cut him to 7-4, laid the 7-4, and he's now 5-4. So the vibes are strong about him. Well done anyone who took the 4-1 and 3-1 him. And who knows, that 6-1 Albert Bartlett, I'd imagine he'd be clear favourite with an emphatic win. And Willie Mullins has got a whole host of entries in the race, but that's probably our biggest position thus far. But I'm sure on the day, Galopin will be our main liability.
Yeah, well, Dr. Steinberg beat the devil, so I suppose he got a big form boost at the weekend with him winning at Doncaster. Pat Dermo's texting me here. He's telling me Only by Night's going for the mare's handicap hurdle. So I've actually cashed out live here with your good self 365. What a service you provide. It only cost me €1 to cash out, Pat, but that's fantastic service from you guys. Lossiemouth, and he asked me to ask, is there a bigger liability on Lossiemouth for the champion hurdle or for the mare's hurdle?
Do
We've
you know?
actually laid her for the champion hurdle. With the mare's hurdle, again, she's always been short for that. But there was speculative money for her pretty much at the start of the season, Lossiemouth. But nothing to get too concerned over. I mean, we've had a charmed run with our champion hurdle anti-post positions. We laid quite a few quid at Sergino. We didn't want that result on Saturday to work out the way it did. But yeah, it's all steam ahead really for the festival, and beginning to lay plenty of horses. I'm beginning to lay these Mullins horses as well. So he's going to possibly have a very good DRF, and it will be back in business. I wouldn't give up on the Mullins, coming over to the UK, winning a load of prize money, but all to play for and very much up for grabs.
Yeah, he's winning everything at the moment. Willie Leader Dalier won, of course, the first to Punchestown today as we're watching it on Monday, bolted in. Pat, enjoy Musselburgh, enjoy the DRF watching, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, I'll be on my best behaviour up there, don't you worry.
Okay, thanks to Pat. Hopefully he's a great weekend up in Musselburgh, which we've now learned is in Edinburgh. Tony Keenan, we'll go to you first with your best bet of the weekend for the DRS.
Rajuka Mark in the Future Star Clumper on Saturday.
Are you going, Tony? You'll definitely be going one of the days.
Yeah, I'll go Sunday. I was getting a bit concerned it might be Sunday and Monday there, looking at the stuff earlier on, but no, I'd say it'll be all right.
And come here, do you get asked for selfies from strangers at the races? Are you up at those levels yet?
Oh, jeez, definitely not. No.
Yeah.
I just keep
well,
my
we
head
all know
down
your
and
favourite to play
be
Johnny
lurking
Denis
about
next
like
year.
every
So
other
this
joke.
is your last selfie-free year at the DRF, because next year you'll be bombarded when you're there in your role with Jeno. Diarmuid, get out the checkbook. We'll have to retain Tony now next year. That's crucial. Dermo, what's your best bet of the weekend, and are you going?
Yeah, Tony's like Cristiano Ronaldo playing for Bray Wanderers or something, isn't he? At the moment, but the my nap of the whole thing would be county final first of all, in the 225 at Leopardstown on Saturday at 7-1. I just think he's a cracking bet. I'm not going. I'm actually heading to Kerry. It was one of the only weekends. My wife is pregnant now, so there's I'm running out of weekends now away. So that was one of the free weekends I could head down. So I'm going to be sat up at the high stool in either Croneen's or Mike Mertz. I haven't decided which bar quite yet, and I'll watch the racing from their cast. And to be honest, I'm the most excited about a Dublin Racing Festival I've ever been, that I've got 2 days where I can pretty much decide about what time I'll head up and what dinner I'll have afterwards. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. You know, the high stool watching racing and punting away is just, it's ideal. Like,
that sounds wonderful. Drink responsibly, gamble responsibly, though, so our sponsors don't get upset. But yeah, that does sound absolutely wonderful. I go to Lapland. Yeah, listener, you did hear that correctly. It did February or whatever, January. Yeah.
Lapland,
yeah, wasn't my decision. Yeah, no, we won't. Let's not dwell on it. What?
No, but what days are you going from and to? You're off next week.
I'm going.
A special guest host on. Yeah, next week. Yeah.
Saturday. So yeah, Dean Ryan will be back. So and listeners will be delighted to hear Dean, the original, the OG.
Yeah.
I'm going on Saturday. I miss the DRF every year because I go to a trade show in Birmingham. So I never see the race. I'd be watching the race on the phone, but this year I'll be watching it on the back of a husky ride or something. That's what must be. Sounds like I don't know anyone that likes the snow. Like you're either boiling hot because you're inside with the ski gear on, or you're freezing cold because I don't know how any of this appeals to anyone. But like, we live in Ireland, lovely temperature here. So
these are real first world problems now, aren't they? God Almighty, we're going.
Yeah. I might just big fallout and end up down in Mickey Mertz or whatever it's down with you for the weekend.
Mike Mertz, best bar in Ireland.
Yeah. She'd take me back. Paddy, you're hardly coming over for her. Yeah, I know you're busy right now and doing all sorts of work these days. So will you make it over?
Please God, 1 year, but it won't be 2026 cast, but it's definitely on the bucket list. But I would say after hearing that from Dermo Nolan, the biggest 1 to 10 poke this weekend is that he will definitely be keeping well hydrated if he's going to Kerry.
Yeah, he'll be down to Dingle like the rest of them. Paddy, we're going to lose our train of thought here. What would be your best bet of the whole weekend, Paddy? Did you manage to come up with what?
It was actually the very last horse that I mentioned. I think this Charles Byrnes horse. It's just that Marcas 100 and 26 because I'm sure they think that they've got wiggle room off that. And obviously, if they have got plans on fulfilling one of those entries at Cheltenham, they'd like to think that they're going to go close on Saturday. And could I briefly go away from Leopardstown on Saturday for one quick minute, because I wanted to give the Adam Nicol horse up in the up at Musselburgh, that Manella Study. He's 3-3 over hurdles. They've obviously got the trials day up at Musselburgh on Saturday, but the yard are absolutely flying. They're the winner yesterday at Sagefield, winner today up at Newcastle, and again, this horse, well, he's evens at the minute for Saturday, but because of his postcode, even if he does win on Saturday, you're going to get a bit of value about this fella when he goes to Cheltenham, Manella Study, and I think Adam Nicol's got a proper one here. So just wanted to give him a mention because
Tony,
he is going to go under plenty of radars.
That is really interesting. He beat the horse that Maestro Conti beat by much further, didn't he? And he's still 16-1 or so for the Triumph. Maestro Conti won well last weekend, but Manella Study hammered him at Cheltenham. And
he
for some
beat
reason,
that thing at Faye Bramley's with the junior, the thing that won.
He beat him as well, but in second that day or third
right.
that day was the horse that Maestro Conti beat at the weekend. Only Manella Study buried him. So yeah, that is very interesting, Tony, or Paddy, sorry, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It appears that they've picked up a real nice one, and Adam Nicol, he's been a little bit of a slow burner as a trainer, but he trains up on the beach. Fantastic facility right up there in front of Bamburgh Castle, if anybody looks on his social media. But it's taken him a little while to find his feet, but he's shown that he's well able to train a good one, and I hope he comes through the trials on Saturday.
Fair play. So, Paddy, that's Manella Study at Musselburgh on Saturday. And good luck to Adam Nichols. Good to see a small yard from England going well like that and coming up in the world. Good luck to all punters at the DRF, which are punted this weekend. Gamble responsibly. And thanks to our sponsors, Bet365 and Gambling.com. Thanks to Diarmuid, Nolan, Tony Keenan, Paddy Aspell. And I won't be talking to you next week, but you'll be joined by, what's his name again? Dean Ryan. Dean Ryan will be back. And...
Yeah.
The coup d'etat is over. Yeah, the coup d'etat is over. Good luck, everyone, and enjoy the weekend.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounding Cordon Star into submission.